Hello everyone, this is R.Sudhakar Reddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Mining Engineering, Aditya University. Today, we are going to discuss about coal mines regulations itself. There are a lot of topics need to be covered. After this class, this learning outcomes, they know about various regulations related to cage suspension gear, winding, vagera vagera. So, coming to the traveling roadways. So, in mines, especially in underground mines, there are two types of roadways: haulage roadways, traveling roadways. So, traveling roadways should be used by the miners, and haulage roadway only for transportation of material. And people should not travel in the haulage roadway. That is one of the important point whenever a miner goes to underground, except when an exemption in writing has been granted by the regional inspector and subject to such conditions as he may specify therein. Traveling roadways in the intake airways separate from the haulage roadways on which haulage is affected by the mechanical means or gravity shall be provided for the person. So, always miners should travel by traveling roadways only. If he wants to travel by haulage roadways, he should take permission from the regional inspector. Every traveling roadway shall be not less than 1.8 meter high for entire stretch. So, whatever the traveling roadways in the mines, there should be minimum of height of 1.8 meters. Where the inclination exceeds 30 degrees from the horizontal, it should be provided by the suitable steps or ladders. So, for example, if ladders having inclination more than 30 degrees, then these traveling roadways should be provided with steps or ladders. When the inclination exceeds 45 degrees, for example, more than 30 means 45 degrees from the horizontal, it should be provided in addition to the steps and ladders with handrails, ropes. So, for example, if the roadway is in the 45 degrees, in addition to the steps and ladders, it should be provided with handrails and ropes, because there are more chances of miners getting slipped and falling. So, all these things need to be followed by mines manager. If the inclination exceeds 60 degrees, so 30 degrees steps, 45 degrees rails. If it is 60 degrees from the horizontal, in addition to the steps, ladders, rails, ropes, suitable platforms at intervals not exceeding 10 meters measured along the slope. So, if it is 60 degrees, apart from the steps, apart from the rails, apart from the ladders, a platform should be provided. I think these platforms are required for taking rest, because sometimes we feel exertion when you travel some certain distances. So, in such cases, you need to have a couple of minutes rest. It should be provided with effective means of telecommunication facilities. All traveling roadways should be provided with efficient means of telecommunication facilities at suitable places. And it should be provided with adequate number of digital display boards and communication ports through which an important message or information. For example, if in any mine, if some accident happens, say the communication should be passed from mines manager to the miners. So, in such cases, at certain points, there should be digital display boards and communication ports. So, that's why if miners want to escape, there are chances of getting escape. So, these are the things through which any important message, just now I am telling, or information can be easily transmitted or broadcasted to persons working below ground or passing thereby. Except for the purposes of inspection, examination or repair, every person other than official or haulage attendant shall travel by the traveling attendant. So, most of the cases, all miners should travel by the traveling roadway. For in case of inspection or examination or repair, he can travel by the haulage attendant. He can travel through haulage roadways also, all traveling people. So, this is the thing, where persons using a traveling roadway have to cross a conveyor or haulage worked by the mechanical means or gravity, a suitable crossover. Just like, for example, in Rajahmundry, there is one roadway is just in front of GSL hospital. So, in case pedestrians want to travel across the roadway, there is one flyover is there. So, these flyovers are constructed to prevent accident. Similar crossover or crossover bridge is constructed in underground mines also, where miners should want to cross haulage roadways. And where a conveyor roadway is required to be used as a traveling roadway, suitable guards or fencing or substantial construction shall be provided throughout the length of the conveyor roadway which is intended. Actually, because even there are some miners who has to travel along the conveyor roadway, and they have to check if some problem is there in the conveyor or some conveyor, all these things. So, in such cases, So all these conveyors should be properly guarded so that people traveling near to the conveyor, they should not get any problems. This is the summary of this point. In case of the traveling roadway from the incline or adit or pit bottom exceeds 1 kilometer, if the traveling roadway exceeds, so this is one of the important point. If the traveling roadway exceeds 1 kilometer, then the owner, agent, manager shall provide suitable man riding arrangement. This is one of the arrangement which is there in the Singareni, one of the mine, as the traveling roadway is more than 1 kilometer, because generally shift starts at 6 p.m. at 6 a.m. ends at 2 p.m. If they have to travel along this incline, it takes a lot of time. There is a loss of, productivity. So, if the traveling roadway exceeds 1 kilometer, suitable man riding arrangements as approved by the CIM, Chief Inspector of the Mines, within 1 year from the date of coming into force. This is one of the important thing. So, man riding arrangement should be taken permission of approved type, which are approved by the DGMS, that is Chief Inspector of the Mines, as soon as no later than 1 year. That is one of the important thing. No haulage shall be used for general conveyance of the persons except with the permission. So, already I told you, no miner should travel in the haulage roadway unless taken permission from the CIM. And coming to safety management plan, just now we have covered traveling roadways. In the previous lecture, we have covered haulage roadways. So, we are coming to about safety management plan. The owner, agent, manager of every mine shall identify the hazards to health, safety of the persons employed at the mine to which they may be exposed while at work. So, generally it is the duty of mines manager or it is the duty of safety officer. They should concern about what are the chances of miners getting exposed to accidents. So, such things they should mind, and these safety management plans should address all such things and assess the risks to health and safety to which employees may be exposed while they are at work. So, they have to analyze what are the risks to health and safety when they are at work, and record the significant hazards identified and risks covered. All these things, safety management plan should address significant hazards, risks to safety and health, and make those records available for inspection by the employee. This is one of the important things, because employee should have access to all the records which are happened in the previous history of that mine, so that these accidents can be avoided in future, and follow an appropriate process for identification of hazards and assessment of the risks. This is one of the important things, because if you are making a safety management plan, there should be an appropriate process where the identification of hazards or risks should be taken into account. And next, the owner, agent, manager of every mine, after consulting the safety committee of the mine and internal safety organization, shall determine all measures necessary to eliminate any recorded risks. These are the important things which need to be addressed in the SMP, safety management plan. This safety management plan is prepared in consultation with the committee as well as ISO, that is internal safety organization. So, the meant for they should address these things: eliminate any recorded risk, control the risk, minimize the risk, and so far risk, so you can avoid the risk. These are the main summary why we are preparing SMP, that is safety management plan, and provide all personal protective equipment required. So, even regulation speaks many things. For example, if sound limit exceeds certain limit, a personal protective equipment is required. General, I think it is 110 decibels as per mining laws. So, like that, even helmet is mandatory, shoes are mandatory. These are all personal protective equipment for miners, and some companies even they supply free of cost these shoes and helmets. Some frequency is there. I think helmet once in every 2 years, shoes once in every 6 months, and even raincoat is also supplied free of cost. And based on the identified hazards and risks, the owner, agent, manager of every mine shall prepare an auditable document. This is the auditable document, this safety management plan. Somebody should make it accountable. For what? Who is accountable? These forms part of overall management includes organization structure, planning, activities, responsibilities, practices, processes and resources for developing, implementing, achieving, reviewing, maintaining a safety and health policy of a company. So, overall safety management plan is a auditable document. So, whatever the responsibilities, generally, whatever the practices, whatever the procedures, processes, somebody should be responsible for something. Otherwise, if some party is not responsible, means there is no meaning in creating safety management plan. It shall be duty of the owner, agent, manager to implement the measures determined, necessary and contained in the SMP for achieving the objectives set out in sub-regulation 2 in the order in which the measures are listed in the said sub-regulation. So, it is the duty of the manager to follow all these things. And the safety manager, what does it contain? For example, yesterday's class we have discussed about surface plan. What does it contain? So, it contains, we discussed about all HT wires, all water courses, all permanent structures like that. And what does safety management shall contain? It's a defined mine safety and health policy. This is one of the important things. And plan to implement the plans. There should be some plans. And how the mine or mines intend to develop capability to achieve the policies. What are the different training programs which are required to avoid risk and to achieve the policy. And principal hazard management plans. Standard operating procedures. This is one of the important things. If you are using a dumper, this should be standard operating procedure. If you are using a continuous surface miner in underground, again standard operating procedures need to be followed. Ways to measure, monitor, evaluate performance of the safety management plan and to correct matters that do not conform with the safety management plans. So, periodically management should monitor and evaluate performance. Is the safety management plan still 100%, other two or somewhere deviations are there? If there are any deviations, how to rectify it? These are the important things which need to be addressed in the SMP, safety management plan. A plan to regularly review and continually improve and safety management plans. So, regularly we have to review. That is one of the important things, because that's why it is auditable. A plan to review the safety management plan if significant changes occurs. The owner, agent, manager of every mine shall periodically review. Just now we have touched it. The owner, agent, manager of every mine shall submit the copy of safety management plan to the regional inspector, who may at any time by order in writing require such modifications. So, even regional inspector may suggest some changes if he feel it is required for safety of the mine. The owner, agent, manager of every mine shall be responsible for effective implementation. So, as the owner or agent or manager, because they are sole important persons of the mine, so they should be responsible for the effective implementation of SMP. And coming to, so we have covered traveling roadways, we have covered safety management plan. Coming to the spoil banks and dumps. So, dumps means overburden where it has to be heaped. While removing the overburden, the topsoil shall be stacked separately. This is one of the important, because that is required for plantation purpose. The slope of the spoil bank shall be determined by natural angle of the repose of the material. This is one of the important, how the slope is decided. But in any case, it should not exceed 37.5 degrees from the horizontal. Any spoil bank exceeding 30 meters in height shall be benched, so that the bench height should not exceed 30 meters. These are the common, and overall slope of this dump should not exceed 1:1.5. So, whenever there are dumps, the height of the dump should not exceed 30 meters, and if it exceeds 30 meters, you have to keep it benches like this. I am just drawing the diagram like this. And slope of any dump should not exceed 37.5 degrees. This is the slope. I am just writing. This is the slope. And overall slope, once again I want to draw, just wait. This overall slope should not exceed 1:1.5. What is 1? What is 1.5? Means one is the vertical, another one is the horizontal. This is the 1, this is the 1.5. Okay. So, in case of dumps, these things should be followed, and dump should be far away from the public places, as safety is, if you want to ensure safety. And toe of the spoil bank shall not be extended to any point within the 100 meters of a mine opening or railway or other public works, public road. So, this is the what I want actually, because if you keep these dumps near to the railway or if you near to the public works, all the wastage will be carried to that places if the wind is powerful. So, that is why it should be minimum distance is 100 meters. If these minimum distance is not managed, then a suitable fence should be erected between railway or public works or road building, and a tow. So this is one of the important thing. If you are not able to maintain, then you have to create a fence. If you are able to maintain, well and good. And strata control and monitoring planning. Apart from the safety management plan, strata control, this is also called as a SMP, but that is most important. This is maintained for strata control. Strata control monitoring plan. The owner, agent, manager of every mine shall prepare and formulate and implement a SCMP, that is strata control monitoring plan, based on scientific study. In case of safety management plan, scientific study as well as trial and error is also required. This is based on scientific study concerning geotechnical data, information, method of development, extraction of the coal, excavation required, therefore, which all includes a support plan to secure the roof. Generally, support plan is required for securing the roof and sides of the below ground places and shall subject to revision with a change in the condition. For all the workings below ground, the owner, agent, manager shall submit a copy to same thing to the regional inspector at any time. So this is meant for securing the roof as well as sides, and similarly, just like SMP, the strata control and monitoring plan should be given to the regional inspector, and regional inspector has power to suggest something, and he can for the safety of the mine. The owner, agent, manager of every mine having workings below ground shall, before commencing any operation, frame in consonance with the strata control monitoring plan framed under sub-regulation 1 with due regard to the engineering classification of the strata. So this has to be prepared with due regard to the engineering classification of the strata, local geological conditions, system of working, mechanization, past experience, enforce the support plan. So whenever you are making a SCAMP, strata control and monitoring plan, you have to take into consideration geotechnical data, method of development, extraction of the coal, all the things you have to take, and then you have to frame as SCAMP. And the manager should at least 30 days before the commencement of operation submit the copy to the regional inspector. This is one of the important things, showing which type of support at which roadways, all these things. The manager should hand over copies of support plan framed under sub-regulation 1 and 2 in English as well as in a local language. So local language means, for example, in Telangana, a lot of underground mines are there. It is Telugu and English. So by local language understood by majority of the persons employed in the mine, together with illustrative sketches. Generally, sketch speaks a lot rather than a language. That's why people say figure. I always insist on students to draw the diagrams whenever required, which carries more marks. So this is one of the important thing. And these SCAMP should be posted, all copies, in wherever the places required, conspicuous places, so which are visible or which people can see many times. The manager and such supervising officials shall be responsible for securing effective compliance. So manager is one of the important person who is responsible for enforcing this strata control and monitoring plan. And the support plan shall include the system of monitoring of the supports, all these things, measurement of the strata behavior, resetting of supports, provision of temporary supports, replacement of old supports, withdrawal of supports, clearing of the faults of the ground. These all data, these SCCMP should address which type of support which to withdrawn, setting of the supports, temporary setting of the supports, all these things. And support plan shall also include the implementation strategy of the plan, training, inspection, supervision policies. So not only inspection, supervision policies, it should also give training also. The owner, agent, manager should formulate implementing a code of standing orders. Similarly, just like SOP for machinery, here also standing orders are there for whether withdrawing or setting of support. The system and the organization for procurement and supply of supports of suitable material, adequate strength in sufficient quantity. This is one of the important things. Sometimes even, especially it happens in the government agencies, some people are corrupted, then it happens. So they will take some bad quality supports which results in the accidents. The method of handling and including dismantling, assembling where necessary, and transportation of support from surface to the face and from the face to the, it should be addressed in the SCAMP, strata control and monitoring plan. And coming to precautions against spontaneous heating, one should understand what is spontaneous heating means. It is a self-heating. If you keep coal in the place where air doesn't enter, means the coal gets it gets heated in itself and gives flames. That is called spontaneous heating. The following precautions shall be taken against the danger of spontaneous heating. The seam or section shall be worked in the panels. So in case of panels means divide and rule, having independent insulation in such a manner that it is possible to isolate from another easily when necessary, where the seam or section has already been developed without complying with the provisions of such regulations, artificial panels should be created. In case the mine is developed without panels, then artificial panels should be maintained. Okay. In determining the size of the panel, under regulations, sub-regulations 1 and due consideration shall be given to enable complete extraction of the pillars there within the incubation period of the same. So, incubation period is the period that elapses between first fall of coal to the first sign of heating, that is the incubation period. So, whatever the coal in the panel or in the district, that should be extracted before incubation period. No coal, shale or other carbonaceous material shall be left or stacked below ground where removal of the fallen coal out of the mine is not practicable. The area should be effectively sealed off. In case you are unable to take out coal in the incubation period, and it should be sealed off, except where otherwise permitted by the chief inspector by an order in writing and subject to such conditions as he may specify therein. No extraction of the pillars in any seam or section shall be commenced until fire dams or stoppings have been provided. So, in case if any danger is there, unless fire dams or stoppings are constructed, you should not do any extraction or reduction of the pillars. In the fire dams or stoppings built in the entrances which are to be kept open for ventilation, haulage, suitable doors or openings may be left, and the bricks and other suitable materials should be kept available in the vicinity. In case fire dams or fire stoppings are there, bricks should be kept available in the vicinity. Why these are kept means to close it whenever any emergency arises. A panel should be isolated by adequate strappings as soon as it has been gouged out. This is one of the important things. Once the production is completely done in the panel, it should be gouged out and it should be properly separated. And all the isolation stoppings erected to seal off the grooves or to isolate old, abandoned or disused workings or to isolate area affected by the fire spontaneous shall be plastered and cement and whitewashed. This is one of the important thing. If you are doing sealing off, it should be plastered with cement and white is whitewashed means if something is coming from sealed off area, it can show some signs. That's why it should be whitewashed. The sufficient material for dealing with the fire shall be kept readily available below ground for transport, and a sufficient number of persons should be trained. So, in case of spontaneous heating is going on, you should have sufficient material should be available for quenching the fire, and similarly team, that is rescue persons, should be readily available. The result of every test referred to sub-regulation 12 shall be recorded in bound page book kept for the purpose and shall be signed and dated by the person carrying out the test. So, all the seal off areas shall be monitored and tested, and whatever the test happens, they have to maintain a book in which you have done the test, and any things you have observed strangely, then it should be notified. Every depleting district shall be inspected on every ideal day, and a report of such inspection shall be recorded in the bound page group. Similarly, just like sealed off areas, even the depleting district should be noticed, I mean to say inspected, all these things. And today's summaries, we have covered traveling roadways, strata control monitoring plan, safety management plan, dumps, all these things. Thank you.